Well, you got to wonder what in the world is going on at Auburn right now. In the last 24 hours, their two highest profile players for sure, Tank Bigsby and Bo Nix, are both in the transfer portal. Bo Nix is a grad transfer. And, I don't know where Georgia is with trying to get Tank Bigsby. I would certainly take a very hard look at that. He is an exceptional running back. But this move from Brian Harsin at Auburn, the close of the season has been a disaster. I don't really see any other way of saying it. And for folks saying, well, it's not a big deal to lose Bo Nix. I mean, okay, that's fine. It's a big deal to lose Tank Bigsby. I can tell you that right now. That's going to be a real problem. And losing them both really, the end of the season for Auburn is about as bad an end of a season as you can get. Yeah, they played Alabama to overtime and probably should have won that game. Let's not skip over the loss to South Carolina, which was inexcusable. The loss, having been up against Mississippi State, and then they lose 43-34. The loss to Texas A&M on the road, okay, but they're just, they left Penn State with seemingly some momentum. A week later, they nearly lose and probably should have lost to Georgia State. A couple of weeks later, they get manhandled by Georgia. They pick themselves back up and beat Ole Miss and Arkansas, which doesn't make sense at all. But they were so up and down this season, and now you really do have to wonder: did they get the right guy? Because it doesn't feel like it right now. And again, four straight losses to close the season, and you're playing Houston, a team you totally could lose to in the Houston Bowl. I think it's wait no, it's excuse me, it's the Birmingham Bowl. Certainly very different than Houston, that's for sure. But you are playing the Houston Cougars. That is not a certain win for Auburn. I mean, not at all. They are a 3-point favorite, but you know, I don't know. We knew Bo Nix was not going to play in that game. I guess this means he won't be around. But I mean, to me, you've lost a legacy Auburn guy in Bo Nix. Um, and the thing about Auburn, Clemson, places like that, it's hard to get it going. And if you lose it, it can be real hard to get it back. And I wonder if Auburn has lost it in a way that they're not going to be able to get it back for some time. Recruiting has not been great at Auburn. Um, I just don't know. Um, I was surprised with the Bo Nix stuff. I was not stunned with Tank leaving, but I think that when you look back on it, this has just not been a great run for the Auburn Tigers. 2020, you close the season with a loss, obviously, to Auburn. Excuse me, a loss to Alabama, Texas A&M. They win at Mississippi State, and then they lose to Northwestern in a way that just was inexplicable. Gus Malzahn is let go, which made sense. And then the season before in 19. I mean, you just how many non-10 win seasons can you get? And this is the part for Auburn I think that's tricky. Obviously, your arch rival is on the precipice of winning yet another national championship. You hired Mike Bobo, then you fired him. You had Bo Nix, you let him go. Auburn's had one 10-win season since 2013. Excuse me, 2013. That's it. I mean, they had the 12-2 season where they lost in the last play of the game for the national championship against Florida State. Follow that up with 8-5. Follow that up with 7-6. Follow that up with 8-5. Follow that up with 10-4, where they beat Auburn and where Auburn beat Georgia and Bama in the same season. Follow that up with 8-5. Follow that up with 9-4. Not a horrible year in 19, but I'm not sure they had a win that you hang your hat on, besides the besides the Bama win, which was a Alabama team that did not play for the national championship, but still a hell of a win. Um, I don't know. We got real hyped up after the Oregon win to start the season that year. but they lost to Florida, they lost to LSU, they lost to Georgia, they lost to Minnesota. I mean, it's just bizarre. And then obviously last year in 2020 was hard to really quantify, but in their last uh, uh, 21 games, they are 12-11. It's just not, or 23, whatever it is. The math is escaping me right now, but yeah, 23 games. They're 12-11. It's just not good enough. And I think they made a hire that was not the right fit. Everybody was all over it at the beginning, but I think they've made a hire that's not the right fit. You cannot let go of your two star players on offense. No, Bo Nix was erratic. He was not dependable at times, but he bled Auburn. And you got Tank, who certainly is a you know blistering running back, could be deadly in certain places. I don't know what will happen with Tank Bigsby, but I have a little understanding, and it looked like they were going to stick around at Auburn. So it's kind of like, what happened in the last sort of 3 weeks or whatever it was since I last had the conversation with the person I know that knows Tank pretty well. Um, I don't know, and I just don't know. And I think globally, if you're Auburn and your two main rivals, your arch rivals, Auburn and Alabama and Georgia, are both in the playoff, are consistently defeating you. I mean, with a few exceptions in 17, 19, and then you beat them both in 17, you beat one of them in 19. Georgia has dominated you from 2014 on, one loss, and really from 2011 on, with the exception of two games. Uh, Alabama has certainly beaten um, Auburn more often than not, and maybe that's the way it should be. But man, I just losing is one thing, but the pieces falling down around you is a whole nother thing. I mean, I, Clemson and Auburn always have a lot in common, just because of the way that they are, and the states that they're in, small states. They're not the flagship school. The sort of me against the world, the Kool-Aid drinking, the cult-like stuff. But I mean, it's not falling apart at Clemson yet, and they're not seeing an exodus of players. There's something really wrong at Auburn right now, and I don't know what it is, but maybe Brian Harson's not a fit. I'll end with this. There my there was in the spring, uh, someone that I trust a lot said that there was skepticism that Brian Harson knew what he was getting into and knew what he was doing. And only now have I for sure felt the same way. I think that there are a lot of problems at Auburn, and you can get left behind there. I mean, you can get left behind at Auburn if you don't play the game the right way, and that's with recruiting, media, alumni, the fans. It's a tricky situation over there, but I think they've gotten it wrong. And they don't have unlimited money at Auburn. They have plenty of it, but they don't have unlimited money. And right now, this is looking like the wrong hire. Why? Because of a 6-5 season or whatever they're at, 6-6, falling apart down the stretch. There's no telling what will happen in this bowl game. And by the way, your two star offensive players, and I know they have another very good running back, but Tank Bigsby is a special player, and Bo Nix is an Auburn legacy, and they're leaving. Something's going on wrong over there, and firing the offensive coordinator after a season, that's strange too. That's just not as strange as these other two things. Hey, we still got that $2 deal at Dog Post. Make sure you check it out and sign up. Everybody is. Let me tell you. We'll see you on the website.